Good morning, everyone. I am doing this video as analysis to help one of our traders to analyze the holdings. And so this person has purchased the first two companies on the list, PFC and Tata Steel. And the purchase was just made yesterday. And I've drawn where the entry line is. And I think that the reason might be because this was a point of resistance right here, and that resistance was crossed, and that could be the reason for the entry. Just one share was purchased, and so that's where it stands. Now, if you will notice that the stock price is above the 20-day moving average, and the 20-day moving average is above the 60, and the 60 is above the 200. Let's look at the weekly chart. And the weekly chart also looks the same. Look at that. Look at that. Stock price on the top, the 20-week moving average, 20-month moving average, and the 200-week moving average. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. 20-week moving average, 60-week moving average, and 200-week moving average. And the monthly, let's see what it looks like. Okay, the monthly also looks like the 20-month and the 60-month seems to line up. And I think the stock doesn't have enough history to have the 200-month moving average. All right. So, which would be quite a long time. All right. So apparently this, company has not had public issue of stocks for that long. So in all of these, this PFC looks like a good investment. Also, I want to see where the all-time high is for PFC. Let's see. The way I do that is I go to the monthly chart, and then I try to get an overall view of the entire stock and see how much history we have. I think that's about it right there. So the highest point, I take it right there, and I put a narration there, ATH, all-time high, right there. Okay, so that's where the all-time high is. Now, from the point of entry to the all-time high, we're looking at about a 28 to 30% increase right there, right? So there's still quite a bit of upswing. So this looks good. I'll go back to the daily chart right now. And all right, let's see. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so when we look at the weekly and the monthly charts, the movement looks consistent. So that's good. And the other factor is that the all-time high is about 30 points away, 30% away in price. So there's quite a upswing available, all right? And so what would I do? Well, I would stay in this trade as long as this 20-day moving average stays above the 60. In other words, when the 20-day moving average goes below the 60, I would look at exiting. Now, as far as putting a stop loss, where would the most logical stop loss be? Well, you remember from our previous videos, we said that you want to put the stop loss at the previous swing low. Okay, so the current swing low right here, up and down right there, but this also would be part of the current swing low. Okay, and then so what I would do is, some of you might think this is way too much, but it's pretty heavy, I know. But what I would do is I would put it down here. All right, I would put my stop loss right here. So you might say, "My, that's too much. That's a huge." Let's see, what is it? Huge, like 50%, 48%. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I know it is ridiculous. The only reason I do that, or that I would do that, is because I am confident of the move, because I saw on the daily chart, the weekly chart, and the monthly chart, this pattern looks pretty good. And so that's like 80 to 90% chance for me, in my perspective that it's going to keep going up. All right, but how long? Well, we don't know. I'm expecting that it would go up to the all-time high. So I would put a target. When you make your GTT, I'd put a target right here at maybe like a 190. All right, 190 might be a place I would put a target to sell. And let me put the name target right there. Yeah, so I would put that as my target to sell at 190. And then I would just hold it until, of course, the stop loss is there. If anything happens, as an emergency, I don't know, war breaks out somewhere, India and Pakistan or whatever, something crazy that it impacts the market heavily. All right, then, I'm safe. Okay, so quickly I can recover. Not only that, as I've shared, only buy about 20 or 30% of the total amount of funds you're planning to put in when you enter. So one of the reasons for that is, in case quickly something happens, you have a 48% loss. Well, you only lose 48% of 20% of what you put in. All right. So that acts as a buffer, as a protective measure. But what happens is this: if you notice, there is resistance right over here. See that? There's resistance right there. I'm going to put my SR line there, right? So there's resistance right there. So I would wait like today and tomorrow and see if the move is continuing up. Okay. If the move continues up, maybe you can enter with another 20, 30 shares. I'm sorry, 20 or 30%. Now, once this resistance line is crossed, okay, and then tested and confirmed, what often happens is, it stays in that range without coming down quite often. Not 100%, but quite often it stays in that range. So once you get to that range, then I would take the stop loss and I would move it to this point right there. Once the price gets to this range and tests this support. Okay. All right. So that's what I would do. All right. So this is good. Hold on to it and put a stop loss here. Make it GTT with stop loss right here and a target at maybe 190 or 192, 191, something like that. Put a target right there and just hold it. Okay. Now, once you notice that the move is continuing up, okay, you might buy another 20 or 30%. When you do that, make sure you edit your GTT. GTT means good till triggered. It's a sell order. It's an order to sell or to buy. So you put a GTT to sell if the stock drops to this price, to sell when the stock goes up to the target amount. Okay, but this is only in case of an emergency. Now, as the price is going up and you notice something happens and the 20-day moving average goes below the 60, you can get out at that point too. Okay, so yes, we have to be ready for losses, but the key is that our profits are going to be more than our losses. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to minimize the losses. We can control the losses. That's the only thing that we have control over. See it right here. Look at this stop loss. Because I set the stop loss, I have control over that. Now, the future and the possibility of making a profit, well, I don't have control over that. The market does that, okay? And so I don't have much control over that. So, but I put a target there. All right. Now, some of you might have the question of, won't it go beyond the all-time high? Why don't I put a target above the all-time high? And things like that. And okay, so often what happens is at the all-time high, a very strong resistance will be faced. See, here's a resistance. Most probably when this price comes up, you'll have another resistance at that point as well. Okay, so that's a common thing to happen. All right. So second one is Tata Steel. That's another one that she has entered, Tata Steel, and the entry was at 119. And this also was purchased yesterday. Okay, stock price above the 20-day moving average, the 20-day above the 60-day moving average, and the 60-day moving average above the 200-day moving average. Let's look at the weekly chart. All right, the weekly is not that good. Okay, all right, but it is above the 200. Okay, so that does say something. That is good. Okay, being above the 200 is a very good thing. Let's look at the monthly. When you look at the monthly chart, all right, look at that. Here's the 20, 60, and the 200. Okay, so this is a good looking stock. And the movement looks good for Tata Steel. And yeah, and because, by the way, another thing you have to remember, although this might not be a direct influence on this stock. I mean, you're not going to think that this reason is going to make the stock go up this week or next week. Not really. But one thing that is for sure is that all over India, we have infrastructure construction going up a lot of road constructions, a lot of building constructions, all kinds of things are increasing. And then buildings with steel structures are increasing more than ever before. Okay, for a lot of businesses, they're beginning to have steel structures, and some people that are moving away from concrete structures. So things like that are quite significant. And so the demand for steel is increasing. We know that. All right. So that's just something to keep in mind. That doesn't mean that this is going to be, that's going to move the price this week. No, don't think like that. But it is something to keep in the back of your mind. And the same thing with the weekly and the monthly charts. When we look at that, you're looking at a broader picture, what's happening for months and months and years. Well, it's, when you look at that also, the price has been in an upward direction. So that's good. All right, now what do we do? All right, did we look at the, let's go to the monthly chart and see what the all-time high is for Tata Steel. Do we have it here? Let's see. I'm going to zoom out, and this looks like the whole chart for Tata Steel. All right, and all right, so the all-time high would be right about right here. Okay, so I'll put ATH right there. Here it is. And so what kind of an upward possibility do we have here? Look at that, about 30% less, maybe about, let's see, less than that, 27, yeah, 28%, something like that. Okay, not bad, but 28% on the upside here. All right, so let me see if I can move the arrow. Yeah, I can move it further over. Yeah, okay, this is nice, yeah. All right, so that's there right before me. I can see where this stands. And I don't need it this wide. I can make it shorter, smaller, and still it gives me the same picture. All right, about 28%, there it is, So I can see it right there along with looking at the stock. Okay, so there's the all-time high. Now I go back to the daily chart. There we are with the daily chart. And on the daily, by the way, that image or that percentage thing will go further out. All right, further away. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna have to take it out of the monthly, and then, or maybe I can put it right on the price. Let's see if I can get it to move onto the price. How do I select this? Not that, this one here, and I'll put it on top of the price, and see if we see it if we go to the daily chart. It should. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, it's on the daily chart right there. It's just that it comes out much bigger. Yeah, here we go. 28.78%, 29%. There it is. Good. All right. So that's the percentage possibility. We're looking at it on a daily chart right there. Okay. There we go. So that's Tata Steel looking good. Now, what should you do? Well, again, you see a resistance right there at about 121. Okay, here's the next resistance at 121. And yeah, and so that's an area that you can see what will happen today. Now, notice that this this bar, this red bar right here, this red candle, all right? You see the wick on the bottom. Okay, so that means that the price had tried to come down this far yesterday, but this is an indicator that the lower prices were rejected. Okay, and this pattern this candlestick, this pattern is called a hammer candle, and so this hammer shape is an indication that the lower prices have been rejected, and we can expect a upward move. All right. Now this also is a hammer, but it's this is too large, right? And so this shows a more positive move. And I would think that the possibility for an upward move today would be higher. All right. Now, is that a guarantee? No. But that's what this candle would indicate. Okay. All right. But let's see what happens. Okay. If it continues in that direction, okay, you can buy another share of Tata Steel. And then, once it breaks over this this resistance, you can purchase more. Now, again, what about the stop loss? Here we go. For the stop loss, what we want to do is look to the previous swing low. And I would put the stop loss right over, a little bit further below, right here. I'll put stop loss right down here. Okay. Now, you might think, again, what is this with this big stop losses? Okay, look at this. If I put a stop loss here, again, that's like 20%. That's big, 22%. Okay, that's a big stop loss. All right. Now, why would I do that? Well, the stop loss is for emergencies. The stop loss is in case something happens real quick and, I don't get a chance to observe this. And that's what the stop loss is for. But you put the stop loss, and what you do is allow the stocks to continue its price movement. And when the 20-day moving average goes below the 60, you can sell and get out. Now, what about how much upward move do you want to get? Well, that's up to you. Okay, but I might take it like at about 152. Let's go to 152 and put a target right there. Where's my target? Right there. Yeah. And put a target at 152. All right. So at about 28, 29%. Okay. Yeah, that's what I would be looking for. And let's see what happens. Okay. Just hold on and let's see what happens, and stay in the trade. Stay in the trade and add to it once the resistance is crossed. Okay, you can add to it and keep adding up to get to about 100% of what you plan to put in. If you're planning to put in 1,000 rupees into one stock, then you put in 20% of 1,000 or 30% of 1,000. Like that, you keep adding. If you plan to put in 10,000 into one stock, then you put 20% of that, 30% of that. If you put in 1 lakh into one stock, you do the same thing, okay? And use the same pattern for whatever rate that you have in mind. Okay, these are the two that she has already purchased, and there's 2 others on her watch list that are looking promising, looking attractive and promising. The all-time high for FACT is about 21% away. All right. And yesterday there was a nice strong green candle yesterday. So if this crosses over, you could look at entering this trade. Okay. If this crosses over, you can look at entering this trade. And once you enter that trade, I would put my stop loss right down here at about 238. Okay. Let's look at the weekly chart with this one. How does the weekly chart look? Looks good. Look at the pattern, 20, 60, 200. All right. And let's look at the monthly chart, 20, 60, 200. Again, the weekly and the monthly are looking good. Okay. So this, I see this as a very good possibility for another 20%. Okay. Federal Bank. What about Federal Bank? What does it look like? Well, see, the 20 and the 60 are too close right there. And possibly the reason for that is because we're so close to the all-time high. This could be the reason for that. And then, of course, we've had this huge dip, which all causes it to go down. And so it's like the 20 and the 60 are touching right now. Look at that, very close. So what do we want to do? Well, what I would do is wait and see if this, somebody else had asked about this, and I put a message in the group about this. You may have seen that. Okay, so we're already at the all-time high. So once this crosses over, let's see what happens today. Today, let's see if this continues going up. Okay, and often what happens is you get a nice green candle going up, and the following day you get a nice red candle coming down, and the next day get a green candle going up. Okay, so it's like a breakout, and then there's a retracing, and then a confirmation. All right, and moving up. All right, so why the retracement coming back down? Well, see, this is a resistance. All-time high is a strong resistance, okay? So once the resistance is crossed, it's almost like as if the stock comes down and steps on this resistance to see if the resistance has become support. Remember, like, if you're inside your house and the ceiling is a resistance. You can take a ladder and try to go up, but the highest you can go is up to the ceiling, and the ceiling becomes a resistance for you. So then let's say you go outside or go somewhere, let's take the staircase and you go up to the next floor. Once you go up to the next floor, this same ceiling is up on top as your support. It is your floor now. The ceiling on the top is the floor. The resistance from the bottom, when you get to the top, that resistance is your support. Okay, so it will check to see if it's support. If it is not the support, if it's not strong enough, what will happen? It just comes down. All right, so that's why I'm saying let it test it and then wait for a confirmation that it is a support and not a resistance. Okay, so at that green candle is where I would want to enter. So for today, I would just observe. The next day, I would just observe. I would wait until we get a retest and then a green candle. Today's green candle would not be sufficient. Okay, today's green candle, you look at it, just observe, and then the next day wait for wait for a retracement, and then maybe Friday or Monday you would get a upward movement. Okay, so the pre-market has just opened up. That's why you see this already. Okay, so let's go back to the first one, PFC, right there. Okay, the pre-market trading has already begun, and we saw the target right there at the all-time high. That would be a good place to set that. Now, if you're not sure how to do the GTT and to place the targets, things like that, and the stop losses, we have a video already about that, and you can search our channel and find that video about how to set your GTTs, how to set a target, and all of those things are right there. Okay. All right. I hope all of you benefit from this, and let me know what you think of this. Any comments, any questions, any doubts, please let me know. This is not only for this person, this one trader, but this is something that I'm hoping that all of you will be able to benefit from this analysis that I'm giving here, because these concepts are applicable for pretty much any stock that you are trading. Okay, thank you so much. And if this has benefited you, please make sure to press like and share it with somebody that you feel would benefit from this. Okay, thank you. God bless you.